Hi everybody, this is Blossom from Tales Unfold, Find Healing in Your Story. And today we're going to have a look at if and how you can clear your own home and your space. So let's dive in. So before we start, I just want to say I know this is pretty basic stuff and many of you know already how to do those things. However, because I don't really know who is watching, I want to cover all the basics first. I want to include everybody as best as possible, and you never know if somebody may be just starting out on their journey. That's why I have those really 101 videos first, and then later we can dive in a little bit deeper. So in one of the last videos we talked about what a house healer is, how a house healer works, how they clear space from any negative or detrimental energies. But you might wonder if you yourself can clear your own space as well. And the very simple answer is yes, you can, of course, and you should. So let's have a look at the different options you have. One of those things, and the most well known probably by now, is smudging sticks or using incense. And in shops you can find different mixes of incense, either loose incense or smudge sticks like that. I have one here that is garden sage, rosemary, lavender and a mint. However, we're going to have a look at the different herbs you can use now. So herbs or plants. One that I like to use, especially at the end of the year or when we move into that time of between Samhain and the winter solstice, that in between time somehow. I like to use birch. You can burn the bark of the birch or the leaves in either in itself or in a mixture with other herbs or plants. And it is very cleansing and purifying, and it really marks new beginnings. Birch can also be used to invoke protection and banishment of the darkness. It also clarifies your thoughts and it can give you courage to go on. It breaks through those stagnant circumstances. That's why I really like to include birch in any kind of incense mixture. Then let's move on to the mints. The mint is really clearing and it has a wonderful smell to it. So whatever form you use it, it's gonna be, it has that refreshing note to it, which I really love to include in my mixtures as well. And it just brightens up the space, and it's also very purifying. Another herb would be lavender. So lavender you can usually use to bring some calmness to your home. When there was emotional turmoil or upsets, whatever there was going on, it just calms everything a little bit down. Also when you are very stressed and you need a bit of so lavender is great for that, and it's also purifying. There are many other, a little disclaimer here, there are many other uses for those plants, so lavender is not. You can also invoke spirits with this, with lavender. But we focus now on the cleansing properties of those different herbs. Now, one that I really like to use is rosemary. Rosemary is a really potent purifier, and it's also very, very protective. What I like about it is because I grow the rosemary myself and I have so much of it. So that is also something, because mostly you will hear now white sage or palo santo, and that's, you know, to each their own. But if you can grow it yourself, you can choose the exact moment when you want to harvest the herbs. I think it adds up to have those magical properties. They come out more. You know, and you can discuss then, do you pick it for new moon or dark moon, or do you pick it for full moon? You can choose, you can research it yourself, whatever feels best to you. You have the choice then to pick it at your right time and then use it. And it's easy to grow rosemary, for example, in the area where I live. It really just, it's bushes full of it. So that's why I love it, and because it's so strong. Then we have sage. I mentioned that also before. So white sage, I don't grow white sage. I don't have white sage. I have a normal garden sage. Sage is also very good, again, for cleansing properties. It actually has an effect on bacteria in the air. It has protective properties. And sage is also really great for when you deal with grief. At some point back in the day, sage was burned at funerals to ease the pain, to ease the emotions that are coming up when you're grieving. So if you have, if anything like that, a mix of lavender and birch and sage would make such a great mix for those circumstances. Another one is thyme. Thyme I also have plenty. Well, I grow all those plants that I tell you now. I grow them all myself, but thyme is also one that just is pretty much everywhere. I like to use it also as medicine for when I get a cough or anything. But however, it has, of course, cleansing properties. It's protective. It purifies the space. But it's also good when you need to energize yourself and when you need courage. And it helps to clear away negative emotions. Now, those were a few herbs. There are many, many, many more. But for this video, let's focus just on a few. Basically, I just gave you my top, my favorites really. And we can move on then. If you're not a friend of smoking up your house, which I understand, or you're not even allowed to, you can use all those herbs that I mentioned now. You can use those also as essential oils. So essential oils you can either put into a diffuser, which is a really great way. I love that. I have my diffuser on all night. I sleep better. And if you don't have one or don't want one, you can also use it in a spray bottle with just, with water and then a few drops of essential oils. So as I mentioned already, all the herbs that we discussed already, you can use as essential oils. And then I want to add a few more now, just to give you an example. One that I like is sandalwood, for example. And sandalwood is not only for cleansing properties, but also to ground yourself. And I said it many times, it is so, so important to stay grounded and to keep grounding yourself on any kind of spiritual journey of well-being, just in life in general. So that's why I like sandalwood. Then we have rose oil. And in combination with lavender, for example, it can harmonize the place again and rebalance the emotions if there was upheaval, etc. So that is a nice combination. It, again, like we said already, lavender calms and rose has similar effects. And then something else that I like to use is lemon oil. So lemon oil purifies the air again, and it also refreshes and uplifts your spirits. So those were just 3 examples plus all the herbs. It's by no means an extensive list, and there are so many. You can still do your own research. Maybe you use it already. Mix and match it however you like, the best smell. That's one of the things too. Put in there what you like smelling, right? Now, then another option to clear your space and your home are crystals, for example. Now, personally, I don't necessarily use crystals for clearing and cleansing purposes, at least not alone. I will not have a crystal I will not put a crystal there and hope that will do the trick. But in combination with charm bags or even in combination with moon water and spray bottles with essential oils, yes. It doesn't matter, everybody has their own way of doing things, and I will just go into a few. Again, there are so many, so we just have a look at a few. But what I want to say is crystals, they can be wonderful. However, the way they are harvested is problematic, and many know that, and many are aware of that, and that's good, and they try to buy them from people who know what they're doing. However, with every purchase, especially, you know, if you don't have any stores nearby that sell crystals, even though does that still exist? They are everywhere. But if you cannot purchase them and you buy them online and you're not entirely sure, when you get a crystal, then please take that crystal, clear and cleanse it before you use it for your clearing purposes, and apologize to the crystal. And this might sound nuts for some, and like, what is she talking about? But I mean it. I read that in Adrian's book, Heal Your Home 1 or Heal Your Home 2, I don't know. And I laughed so hard because I always say that if you get a crystal, first apologize to it and make sure it's loved now. Because it is problematic, you know, and we cannot ignore that just because they are pretty. I know they are pretty, I have them because they are pretty. Absolutely, you know, but just make sure that you take all those detrimental energies away, however you do that, bathing in the moon, with water, with smoke, with sound, you have your methods probably, and then apologize to the crystal, and then you can work with it. Now, the all-rounder, clear quartz, it's not expensive to purchase a clear quartz, and you can really use them for so many things. Clear quartz dispels negative energy and at the same time attracts positive energy. It is known for absorbing, balancing, and regulate negative forces and energies. And you can program this crystal so well for anything else. If you don't have a crystal yet and you're thinking about what to get, clear quartz, definitely, because it's so versatile. Now, another one is black tourmaline. This is a very strong and powerful stone. It's grounding again, so that's always a good thing. And it's so highly protective. It helps to clear and repel negative energy from the body, but also from your home and work environment. And as we mentioned already, it's really grounding. It helps you to center and to be a bit more at peace. Black tourmaline is also good against EMF, so you can keep it close to your computer or your TV, or in general your workspace, where there are a lot of, we have our tablets, we have our phones, we have our laptops, all of that, so it's really good for that too. Now, and then we have obsidian. Now, obsidian is a strong and absorbent stone, and it will highlight every truth that you need to hear or see in your life. It's also a very powerfully protective stone again. Therefore, it should be cleansed often. So depending on how much negativity comes your way, and it's hard to say a number, once a week, once a month, it really depends on what comes your way, and in a way you feel it, right, when it's time to clear them. It also brings out those emotions that we often avoid. It brings it definitely to the surface, and that's where they need to be, so we can clear them away. We cannot clear them away when they're, when we suppress them. That's not really the point of it, right? So this is also really good crystal to put. This crystal you can put near your entrance, or wherever you go in or wherever you go in and out most often. So that's a good spot, right at your door, wherever. But again, clearing it often enough. And then the last crystal I still want to mention is the amethyst. So amethyst can be used in many situations again. It can help to heal grief and protect you from negative energies. Amethyst is a very good crystal for when you're around a lot of people, or even if in your home there are a lot of people coming in and out. It helps you when you feel a bit drained of all the people around you. Not always saying, all the toxic people, but just people in general. For some, if you're much more introverted or anything else, then it can help you to rebalance those energies again, to give you a bit more energy again, because it protects you from it. So those were all the crystals, and then we move on. That's another way to clear your space, right? So you can use either anything with smell or with crystals. Another thing to clear your home, the crystals were much more about protection, right? However, and when we talk about sound, it's again different. There's much more to clear away. Sound is wonderful to do that. You can use a singing bowl, you can use drums, you can use a rattle, a rainmaker, or bells in any shape or form. And that can help you to get that stuck energy around moving again. So you can go around your house and use the instruments. However, don't underestimate a good clapping of the hands, right? It's gonna be too loud. Go into your corners, clap your hands together, scream at it for all I care, right? Scream at it, chant if you prefer, use your voice, use your own vibration of the body. Your chanting and the clapping, it's wonderful. Everywhere where there's a little bit clutter, in all the corners, just in general, the whole space, that can really brighten up the space and, like I say, get stuck energy moving again. Best, of course, if we're talking about clearing your space energetically, the first step should be physically, right? The less clutter you have, the less it can get stuck. But not everybody is a minimalist, and that's fine too. I'm a good example for that. I'm really not. And then with singing bowls or drum, let's say a hang drum, I don't know, that might be a bit expensive, but a steel tongue drum, for example. You can get drums. They don't cost too much, depending on what you take, of course, but if you take a more simple one, and they sound wonderfully. And it can, of course, raise the vibrations, right? It can make it brighter, clearer. I really like clearing with sound. It has such a big effect. That can also be putting on certain music, right? To help and clear a space. So, you know, use whatever you can here. It doesn't always have to be expensive, right? Like I said, if you just chant, and if you chant whatever, you just go away, back off, whatever you want to use, right? Another thing is prayer. Prayer does have a bit of a negative taste sometimes for some people due to the religious connection. But prayer is also, depending on how you pray, right, it can also just be an intention setting, right? And it really depends, praying to a deity, if you work with deities, praying to the house spirit, a guardian, right? Be in communication with it. And that can happen through prayer if you feel comfortable with. An example, for example, that I found quite a few years ago, so I'm not entirely sure where I got it from, sorry about that. But something you could use just to clear your space, your own personal energy field, would be something like, I am now choosing to cleanse my body, mind and soul. I release any and all thought forms, any beings, situations and energies that are detrimental to me and are not for my highest good. I am now clear of everything that is harmful across all planes of my existence, all dimensions and all lifetimes. I ask that all energies are now transformed for the highest good of all. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's a very quick form to cleanse yourself. You can use visualization with it. I really like to use that before I start any kind of work with house healing or Reiki. First thing in the morning, not exactly first thing, there's coffee involved first. So using that and with a visualization of a waterfall, first with a bright white light. And then, you know, I say this prayer and I visualize that bright white light going through my aura, washing everything away. Then it changes to silver light. And it takes really everything out. This silver light is like little, like it munches away everything, any residue. It goes through the entire aura. And then I like to use as a finishing touch, I cleanse quite a bit. I need that. I imagine then the golden light coming through, and this heals, repairs anything that has been eaten away by the silver, and it heals, repairs, and strengthens. And then adding still later protection before I start any kind of work. That is an example, but that's an example for more yourself, your own, but you are part of your space, the space is part of you, right? Then another thing we can use is blessings. So they are similar to prayers, for some even interchangeable. Personally, I like to use a Bridget house blessing after I do a house healing for someone, to really anchor the healing that just happened over this property, over the home of the home and the person together, to really anchor those energies. However, if you do not work with a deity, you can also use a more generic house blessing. And again, I found this when I was looking that up. I found one online. This goes something like this. Bless this house, may peace dwell within. Protect all that enter, whether friend or kin. Bless every door, window, ceiling and wall. Bless each room, closet, basement, bless it all. Bless the roof, the ground surrounding with your protective love and light. Hold us in your loving care every second of every day and night. As above, so below, and so it is, blessed be. I think that's a beautiful blessing to speak over your house, especially, after you cleared everything, and then speak a blessing like that over your house. I think that's a wonderful practice, and if you keep repeating it, even just however, bring a regularity to it. Maybe every Monday after the weekend, maybe every Friday before the weekend, up to you. You can of course use words that resonate with you. Put in your spirit guides, your deities you work with, the Fae. If you work with Fae in your home, right? If you have an established relationship, then use words that include them. Another thing again, here we go more into the protection again. Something you could use is protective sigils. Sigils are symbols that you create yourself with a very clear intention behind it. Now, one way, there are different ways. I'm not going into it. I can if you want me to. But just to give a quick instruction, one way to create a sigil is you write a phrase or word down, and then you remove all the vowels and the repeating letters. For example, I would use my house is now protected. And you take the remaining letters, and with those letters you then create a sigil. And that can look something like this. It's, for example, a sigil I have. Now you can put that on your doors, on the roof, in front of your garden, however you want to do it. Now there are two thought patterns there. One to activate a sigil, that you really burn it into your mind, you really bring it in maybe even an ecstatic phase, and then burn it, physically burn it where you have drawn it, so you don't think about it anymore. And otherwise you can also put it visibly on your doors or wherever you want to put it. You can also, not visible, you use, for example, moon water, dark moon water for the protective energy, for example, and use that water maybe infused with some herbs, maybe infused with crystals, and you start just drawing it on doors, and so it remains invisible. Up to you. Now then, another thing is protection jars. I give you an example now of a protection jar, not so much the witch bottle. I will come to that later. For a protection jar, you need an empty jar and then some corresponding herbs, crystals, salt, maybe even a piece of paper with your sigil on it and your intention. So add the herbs that you find the most fitting to your purpose. What is the most protective? Do you still want to bring in some calmness? Do you want to lighten the mood a bit? Was it really heavy lately? So if that is the case, you might want to bring in any kind of lemon, Mints, lemon balm, very good, you know, for a bit of more depressive state. You can put in that. Then you can add crystals to the jar if you want to. And you can put everything into the jar that fits into and represents protection for you. Whatever that is, it's your jar. If you want to, you can put in glitter in there, if that makes you feel protected, right? You can add little hearts. Yeah, you do it your way. And then write onto a piece of paper, I am protected and safe. And say it out loud. Out loud, not in your mind, out loud, before you put that piece of paper into the jar. And then you visualize yourself and your home being safe from all harm. However you want to do that. May that be with big lights, may that be with huge fences, or Dumbledore's army, whatever you want, right? And then you can seal your jar. You close your jar and seal it with candle wax. And then place it somewhere where you can see it to remind you of your intention. If you do it that way, then there are also, of course, the witch bottles. So it's really up to you what you want to use. A witch bottle, it's often more protective against negative magical attacks, harmful magic against you. There you put in, so you have a bottle or a jar, works too, and you put in razors, nails, rusty nails and pins and needles and broken glass. You can either use vinegar or your own urine, and then again you can add herbs if you want to it. And that is more, witch bottle is more, then you seal it, that you bury. You don't want to see it all the time, right? You want to bury somewhere on your property. Some of also that they have on the four corners of the property, in each corner, in each direction, a bottle like that. You can also do that. Just as a little side note, however you want to do it, right? Then, why would you then need a house sealer if you can clear your space and protect it all by yourself? So as human beings, we have some blind spots, and it's always good to let somebody else check in on us, have a look from who might be more objective than we are. I know during my house healing training, we were a group of people and we checked in on each other. So for the house and for our personal energy field. And it's really interesting what other people find about us, what we were not able to find or to see, because yeah, we have a different view on it. It's the same like with tarot. Of course, you can read tarot for yourself, but every now and then you think, maybe somebody else should do it. I am not really in a place, in a good place where I can do it. I'm not objective enough. And to let somebody else check in is always a good idea. So that's one of the reasons. Secondly, everything we discussed now is not always 100% effective, and for some issues, not effective at all. So, for example, when it comes to darker, heavier energy beings, it's I'm just gonna tell it how it is. I don't think sage and rosemary and essential oils, they are not that impressed by it. You will not necessarily get rid of it. There is much more involved to deal with those beings than just using incense or essential oils, or you also don't drum them away, unfortunately. And the same goes for geopathic stress, so water lines, ley lines, earth energy lines, spirals. Those things, they are where you're not going to smudge them away. You're not going to smudge them away. First of all, you have to know where they are. So you actually, you need a bit of training yourself. You can do that yourself, right? That's not the issue. But it takes a while until your dowsing is accurate enough to really be able to tell where your water lines are running. I'm taking water lines now as example. And smudging will not, you cannot smudge them away. You cannot sing them away. Maybe, if you're a mermaid. So, and like I said already before, also our own energy field. It's so easy to miss something, not to see something, or to misinterpret what we think we might find in our own energy field. So it's always great if somebody else can come in. And there I say, really don't be too proud to ask for help for somebody else. And the great thing is, if you had a house healing, and then after everything is really cleared, you work with that blank slate. Everything is out. The layers have been healed, right? Many, many layers can occur. And all those layers have been dealt with, and you're in that threshold. And from there on, if that all is out, put your protection up. Keep on clearing. You can combine that with, some prefer the dark moon to do that, some prefer the full moon. Every month you do a little cleansing ritual, if you like. So this can look like you clapping and chanting, right? This can be you just running around with your smudge stick, drumming, whatever you want to do, you know. And then also intention, visualization. You can imagine, of course, a lot of light coming in. You can, if you are a Reiki practitioner, you can use Reiki to cleanse your rooms, to clear and cleanse and strengthen the energy and raise the vibration in it, that not everything is so heavy, right? There's the higher vibration, lower vibration whole thing, right? It's just try to, that it doesn't get stuck. That's where I say the higher, raise it, so it doesn't all linger in the corners, heavy on the ground, right? So there, that you can do. So there we go. I hope this was helpful. I was rambling along a little bit. If you have any questions or you just want to say hi, then please leave me a comment, or even if you have a suggestion or you want to know something more specifically and ask for a video, you can do that in the comments. Say hi, I'm really happy if you do. And if you want to come in contact with me, head over to my homepage, talesandfold.com, and let's connect there. And if you are in need of assistance of your own healing journey, which would include house healing, I have many different options on my homepage, so you can have a look there, what would serve you best. Otherwise, I still want to do a more in-depth video about protection, how you can set up protection, warding. I want to talk about, maybe be more specific about protection jars, bottles, witch bottles, charm bags, how all of that works. If you are interested, let me know, then I'm happy to do a more in-depth video about that. And then all I have left to say is thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you from my heart. I hope your world is kind. Much love to you, and bye.